It's a great crowd, so we like to see that. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm Tim Broom with Half Hitch. I'm Vice President of Half Hitch. Been there for about 32 or 3 years, and this is probably our 10th or 11th year doing the seminars here. And tonight we get to talk about one of my favorite things for a couple of reasons. By this time of year, I'm kind of burnt out on bottom fishing anyway, and we're coming up on tuna season, which I really love. It's an exciting fishery, and it marks also some cooler weather that will be coming our way, which will really get the blackfins going. We're lucky that there's been a few blackfins caught already, not a lot. I probably know of maybe a dozen or so caught this last week. But we do have a cold front. We got some rain coming this week, and we got a cold front that's pushing down. I'm not going to say it's going to be cool here by any means, but Sunday looks like north winds in that 10 to 20 knot range, so at least it will be much less humid, and that's going to cool the water temps down just a little bit, which will not only help with the tuna fishing, but it'll help with all the other species as well. So we got a lot to look forward to. So tuna fishing. You know, oh, stop, go back. You know, for anybody who doesn't know, let's do a little history about the blackfin tuna fishing. We haven't always had this blackfin fishery that we have now. Back when I was a kid growing up on a charter boat and stuff fishing at the pier, we always caught a few blackfins, but there was never like a ton of them, not like there is now. And something changed back in the mid-'80s. Back in 1985, we had Hurricane Elena. I believe it was Elena. I could be wrong on that. Don't hold me to that. But anyway, we had a hurricane that year. Well, that fall and the preceding falls after that for about 10 or 12 years, only about 10 years, we had a blackfin run at the pier. We'd always, you know, when I was a kid, we'd catch 1 or 2, maybe 5 a year at the pier, but never any great numbers. Well, in the afternoons at the pier, there would just be showers of ballyhoo running down the beach, and the blackfins were just chasing them. And we would literally catch, some days we'd catch 100 or more blackfins from the pier. And that went on at the pier for 10 or so years, all the way up until we had Hurricane Opal. They still catch them at the pier, better than when I was a kid, but not to the level they do now, with the exception of the winter blackfin run that we get in January, February, and March, and they catch way more at the Navarre Pier than we catch on our pier with their proximity to the timber holes. But these happen to be 2 that I caught, 28 to 25 pounder. Both of these were off the pier back in May 17th of '92. So just a little bit of a history about the blackfins. But we have an exceptional blackfin fishery up here. If anybody really wanted to go out and think about trying to catch a world record fish, a lot of the blackfin records are in the high 20s or low 30s. In most places you go, if you go down to the Keys, a big blackfin for them is 8-10 pounds. You know, it takes a fish that's in the 30s to win the rodeo. Now, of course, we use gutted weight, and like a lot of times the gutted weight's going to be 26 to 29 pounds. But those fish were 32 to 35 pounds. We catch a lot of world record blackfin here. And as far as edibility goes, I know people who talk bad about blackfins, but if you treat it, they're tunas. If you treat it like it's a tuna, catch it, brain spike it, bleed it, treat it just like you would a yellowfin or a bluefin, I promise you, you can't tell the difference. They're just as good. And they're plentiful, and they're easy to catch, and you don't have to run. You know, to catch yellowfins, we got to go minimum 65, 70 miles. Talking about that, 65, 70 miles. I don't know if everybody heard, they got all the fads back up and online this week. And anybody who, if you ever get a chance to speak with Alex, or Alex Fogg is the director of our reef program here, to get a chance to meet him in person, send him a message on Facebook Messenger. It's Alex, Fogg. Thank him for all the good work he's done. I don't know exactly how long Alex has been with the county. I think it's about 5 years. But I can tell you this, he's built more reefs in 5 years than the county has built ever. And just acquired, we're going to have the largest wreck in the anywhere, 990 feet. Yes, sir. Yep. Yep. It's a $9 million project funded by the TDC and bed taxes. The boat has to be, my best friend actually lives in Philly, and that's where this ship is currently located. It has to be out of Philly by the end of this month. So that reef, I anticipate, will be in the water next year. They're probably going to have to tow it to either Pensacola or Mobile and get it ready. You can't even bring it in, you can't bring it inside. Well, you could bring it in our pass, but it won't fit underneath the Destin Bridge, height, width, nothing. There's no way to get in the bay and even work on it here. It has to go somewhere else, it's so big. But it's going to be a huge, huge deal to have that. These are all Blackfin pictures from last year that we caught. That was a really cool shot there, just coming out of the water. But like I said, they're easy to catch. They're fun to catch, and there's several different methods. And I'm going to try to cover as many of them as I can tonight, not run too long. But what do you need to catch these fish? You probably don't have to go out and buy anything. Some typical tackle that you would fly line with or cobia fish with. We need something, I don't like a super long rod on the boat because it's just, there's T-tops and antennas and everything else. This is my own personal gear here. It's a 7-foot, medium action rod. It's spooled with 40-pound braid, and I'm using 40-pound fluorocarbon leader. So pretty simple rig that we need. Of course, there's sometimes when I say that you need fluorocarbon, you need to spend the money for fluorocarbon. Sometimes you can save money on it. This is something that you really want fluorocarbon leader. Fluorocarbon was designed and invented just for the tuna fishery. That's where it started, was the bluefin tuna fishery. And because when you go and look at a tuna, you can see just how big their eyes are. Their eyes are 2 to 3 times the size of any other fish that's their physical size. Their eyesight is incredible. And that's why we need that fluorocarbon leader. Now, ways to catch them. And there's different places that we're going to catch these fish, and the methods are going to change. The first one's run and gun. Early in the mornings, late in the afternoons, just off the beach, no more than a mile or two, places like the Miss Louise or the new Destin High School fishing reefs that they put out just about a month ago, maybe not quite that long ago. Any of those nearshore places, you're going to find ballyhoo showering down the beach, just like we would see at the pier. And those fish, you can troll for them, or you can what we call run and gun. You'll see them, and do I have a, yeah. You'll see the ballyhoo running right here off the beach, and the tuna's just exploding on them. This only happens that first 2 hours and last 2 hours of daylight. During the middle of the day, you typically won't see this. So you got to be, if you're going to do it in the mornings, you got to be out there before the sun comes up. But you'll see the ballyhoo running, the tunas are just busted, and there's just random schools of ballyhoo. And when they're doing that, you want to have your spinning rod ready, and you want to have a couple topwater poppers, like the Halcos, or one of the Yozuri twitch bait minnows. These are both, this is the twitch bait, and that's the popper lure. You're just gonna run, throw at them. Don't run into the school of ballyhoos, just drive them down, but you just run up there as fast as you can. You run, pull the boat out of gear, sling it across the top as fast as you can go, and they're just, that's an exciting way to catch a fish to me. I mean, just to see them come up out of the water and just crash on it, super, super fun. Now, we're going to talk about this Halco lure here, I don't have a picture of this one, but this is the trolling version, and this is the popping version. And this is a secret that we found out on these lures by mistake. You'll notice that most of the lures that are up here for tunas are all lighter in color. Well, these two here, we've had some of these older Halcos, and the paint on these is okay, but it's not great like it is on some of the lures. And it comes off. Well, underneath here, this thing is almost the same white color as the chairs everybody's sitting in. And when all the paint, even the white paint that's on here, when that paint comes off and they become that dull white, they work even better. The guys at the pier throw this one a lot for the tunas at the pier. They come in the store, buy this, take it home, immediately sand all the paint off and get it to where it's just that plain flat white. Works so much better. So let's go back. So that's the run and gun method for them. It's fairly simple. There's not a lot of tack to that. It's just that you're either going to see them out there doing it, or they're either there or they're not. Then there's live bait and chumming, trolling and jigging. And we'll spend the most time on the live bait and chumming because that's how we catch the majority of them. And you can, while you're live baiting for them, you can actually jig for them. And all the places that I'm going to talk about that we can catch the tunas at, there could be snappers, groupers, jacks, triggerfish, all at the same area. So you can sit there and bottom fish while you're doing your tuna thing. You can jig for the tunas. You can bottom fish, regular bottom fish. So Alex, you know, and this is just a little sampling of the wrecks that he's put out. If you want all the wrecks and reefs and stuff, where did it go? Thought I put that in here. Oh. There's a website, www.dustinfwb.com. If you go to that website, they have a listing of all the Okaloosa wrecks there. You can download it as a GPX file or you can pull it up as an Excel file. But they're all on that web page. But any of the big ships that Alex has put out there, those are definitely good places. But the newest one they sank, this ship went down maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago, maybe a little longer. It's probably not more than 6 weeks. When were we out there where we saw that? Was that long ago?
Yeah, it was 6 or 7 weeks ago.
Okay. Well, this particular one it's placed in very deep water. It's in about, if I remember right, it's in about 240, 260 feet of water. And it's probably a little closer to the knuckle than it is to the southwest edge. But this one is going to be really good for tunas. This year is going to be kind of a toss-up if it's going to have been there long enough. For the tunas to be on any of the places I'm going to talk about, there does need to be bait. But in a month from now, it will have been there almost 3 months, so it should have plenty of bait. I don't know if it's going to have snappers or jacks or anything like that on it yet, but it should have plenty of bait. If there's bait, there's going to be blackfins because it's in the perfect area for it. So if you're familiar with our bottom structure offshore, we have the southwest edge that would run on down here. And then this is the south edge, and then Mingo Ridge would sit right over here. All three of those ridges are very good for tunas. But this little place right here, this 5 or 6 square mile area that we call the knuckle, this is the tuna ground. This is one of the better areas, and in October, you're going to run down there. If you get there at 7 in the morning, you're going to have to look for a rock. So if you have a relief shading on your bottom machine, There's literally hundreds of rocks. You just need to pick one out. But if you get, like I say, you get there at 7 or 8, there's going to be 40, 50 boats. You're late. But like last year, we caught the winning, we were sitting here tuna fishing, caught the winning wahoo for the rodeo, the 25 and under charter division, sitting there, caught it on a 40-pound fluorocarbon leader and a 6 or 7/0 owner Mutu light hook. Hooked him just perfect. If I have some time at the end, I'll pull the video up of that. That's another one, just the southwest edge and the knuckle. Yeah, this one shows the beginning of Mingo Ridge over here. You can see where, in relationship to the south edge, where it is. And then one more place. This is more of the winter blackfin run, which we'll go ahead and talk about that for a little bit too. In January, February, and March. Best time is in February, March. The kayak reefs that they've put down here off of Navarre, there's 3 more sets of these closer to home. And they all do good, but not as good as this Navarre complex, because this is closer to deeper water, and there's 500 of the pyramids down there. The other 3 places that the county has out, there's only 50 or 60 in those. So this is a much bigger complex. But this is a great place for tuna fishing. But there again, in the wintertime, for those blackfins that are down there, that is a very, very early morning bite. They very rarely bite there after 8 o'clock. You got to think about it, in January, it's daylight at like 6:30. So you're only getting an hour and a half to 2 hours of fishing time. You have to run down there in the dark. They bite best on the most bitter cold mornings. Is when they're going to bite best. The Navarre Pier, it's right there. It's right off of Navarre Pier. That's the big park down there. But the bitter cold mornings, super, super early. I mean, you need to look like the little dude from the Christmas Story where he falls in the snow. You need that many clothes plus full bibs and a rain jacket, because I promise you, new high school fishing reefs. These are all in the El Matador Gully, about 1.5 miles offshore. They have all the numbers listed on the Destin Fort Walton Beach website now. But that's some of the great work that he's doing. Baits. It's pretty much like everything else we do. Live cigar minnows, live herring, and then one that's kind of a shocker here. The tunas are coming from offshore. Now, we can't get those little royal reds and the rock shrimp and everything else that are out there, but there's a lot of days we catch some of our nicest tunas on a live shrimp. Seems kind of odd that we're going to use a bait this big, but I'm telling you, there's days when those tunas just destroy the live shrimp. In the tuna thing, when we're out here at the edges or the knuckle or the ships, it's not just pull up there and just immediately catch one. While we can catch a lot of them, I'd say on a good average day, I can go out there and catch 2 to 3. Some days I'm gonna catch 10 or 12. But sometimes it is a waiting game. You just they're gonna come and feed, and if you watch your salooner tables and fish those major times, those are the best. That stuff's real. It's not just made up. The tunas will bite better on those majors on your salooner tables. But they can bite any time during the day, because they're just making big loops around looking for food. The things that you can do to really increase your chances. Out-chum the boat that's next to you. This time of year, we're all out there doing whatever. There's plenty of bonitas. Of course, we always save some bonita chunks for triggerfish and mingos, and we make bonita strips for snappers and groupers. But save you some for the tuna season, because if you out-chum the boat next to you, you're going to catch more. But bonita chunks work good. Of course, if you don't have that, you need to buy some chum. Cigar minnows are expensive for chum. Get the northern mackerel or the herring. They're half the price of cigar minnows, and you probably need at least 2 or 3 boxes. And you're going to cut them up little pieces, throw a handful, wait a few minutes, throw another handful. Same thing you see them doing. If you're watching Wicked Tuna on Nat Geo or whatever it is, same thing they're doing. Throw a thing of chum, wait a little bit, throw another handful of chum. But chumming works super, super well. And if you're adventuresome and are okay with a cast net, if you're leaving from here at Legendary or maybe on the north side of the bay at Two Georges, or if you're leaving from anywhere in the bay, stop in the mouth of one of the bayous, get your cast net. And cast net, a lot of times you can throw the cast net one time and have 2 5-gallon buckets of menhaden. Just throw the net one time. I would throw as many, if you have 2 live wells, fill one live well with menhaden, save the other one for your bait that you're actually going to fish with. If you don't have 2 live wells, I would put a few live ones in there and then just take the other ones as just a couple 5-gallon buckets full. Cheap, easy chum, and it works great. But if you have, like say, if you have 2 live wells and you can fill up one with live menhaden, take your dip net, throw 5 or 6 out, throw some of your frozen chum out, let that go, throw some more live ones out, throw some more frozen, and you won't see those menhaden. Then all of a sudden, you'll look back there by the props, and it's like you have a whole school of menhaden. When those menhaden, when they swim off and when they come back, one of the rods is going to get bit. That's when you know the tunas are coming, because they've all run back up to the boat for cover. So you can actually anticipate them. How are we going to set up the boat for this? I like to fish with 3 rods. I'm going to have one that's just basically a fly line rod. And you need to be using your trolling motor or Helm Master or something just to be you want to be right on top of the rock, just like we're bottom fishing, and holding the boat up in one place so we can fish down current. We're going to have one bait on top. We're going to have one bait on a small lead down deeper. And then we're going to have one rig that's fairly deep. When I say, if this one was on the surface, this one was at 75, and this one was at 125 feet deep, is a good range. A lot of times, this deepest one is going to get bit first. And as that one gets bit and it comes up, the other tunas come up, and this one gets bit and that one gets bit. Sometimes the flat line gets bit first. But that's kind of how you want to set your stuff up. Now, there's several ways to do your flatline rig. It's your 40-pound braid, and my leader's a little short right here, but we want about a 8 to 10 foot leader, a 40-pound fluorocarbon with a FG knot, or I prefer the FG, but an Albright will work here. It doesn't go through the eyes quite as good. And then a 5 to a 7/0 Owner Mutu light hook. When you hook your bait, it's real important. You want to make sure your baits, especially on these 2 deeper ones, are swimming. We don't want to hook them back here. We don't want to hook them in the tail. They need to be hooked right in front of the eyeballs and that little hard cartilage on their nose right there. That way they're going to live the longest and be the most lively. When you're deploying this one I put out first. I put it out and get it away from the boat. Once I get that one out, then I put my deepest one, then I put my mid rig out. And like I say, there's actually more than 2. Several ways to rig these. The way I started off was I used this rig, just like what we do for snapper and grouper fishing. This is how I learned to do it years ago, and this one still works. But you have your three-way swivel, but you have a super long leader, and then we have a snap swivel, then we have just our little piece of fluorocarbon down here. The problem with this rig is this leader needs to be 20 or 25 feet long. Well, this gets to the boat, and then the tuna is still way over there. So this is kind of old school fishing, but still works very well. But this is a rig that I use this one. There's two that I use, and one I've got pictures of and one I don't. But all you do is you want to put your bait out there where it's 50 or 75 feet away. Then you're going to take the rubber band, you're just going to loop it around the line and cinch that down. Then, what I forgot to bring is just a regular snap-on lead. And we're just going to put the snap lead right here, and we're going to let it down to where we want it. When we get the tuna on, sometimes the rubber band will just break off because the lead's swinging around. If it doesn't break off, and this gets all the way up to where it's going to be right here by your tip. So your angler's fighting the tuna in this rubber band. Just think about this hook still being way over there. It gets right here. Just reach up with your pliers or a pair of scissors and snip the rubber band. Just reach up and whack, it's off. There may be a little piece of it still on the line. Don't worry about it. Just reel it straight into the reel. It'll be fine. So that's one way of doing it. The other way, some people are concerned about maybe cutting their line doing this. So another way to do it, and I was taking pictures today and somehow deleted this one. But there again, say this was going to be 50 to 75 feet up the line. We just take a piece of monofilament, run it through the sinker, take a rubber band, put that through the loop, and just pull that rubber band into the egg lead. And it's kind of like a bobber stop if we were fishing for crappies. Then, as we reel this up and it starts to get in range, the tuna's still over there, you just reach out over the side, snag that lead, and it'll slide all the way down to your hook. So either method works good. We just need something where this lead doesn't get here and the fish is still 25 feet away, or even 50 or 75 feet. Questions about that? Everybody's good on that? Man, this is easy tonight. There's one more rubber band trick here. I'm going to spend a lot of time on this one. There's another way that we can attach. Actually, that's not it. Where we can make the sinker be actually in line. This is one they use for bluefins up on the East Coast a lot. This works really good for like yellowfins and stuff out at the rigs, but this is a bit complicated for the tuna fishery. If anybody wants to know how to do it, if y'all come by the store one day, I'll be glad to show you all this one, but it is fairly amount more complicated. It's not one that I typically do just for blackfins. I don't think it's really necessary. So we think we can go out there to the southwest edge or the knuckle or the Mingo Ridge and catch a tuna. Yes?
That middle line that you had and the deep line, any concern about those getting all tangled up, you know? I mean, if you have a couple ounces on the weight for that middle line, you know, does that drop straight down sometimes and then get, you know, fouled with your...
So generally speaking, that time of year, the question was, how bad does that tangle up? Not really that bad, because the flat line, the current's just going to take it away really easy. This one here, this should only be about a 1 to 3 ounce lead. So the current's never going to let that one get, this one, we could put a 6 or 10 ounce lead. It could be vertical. This one won't be vertical. It'll be spaced between these two, just because the lead is, you don't want you wouldn't want to have a 6 ounce and a 6 ounce, then you would have a problem. But so long as this one is at least 2/3 lighter than this one, you'll have spacing.
Another question.
Yep.
Are you buying different size rubber bands for all these, or you pretty much stick with one?
The question was, do I buy different size rubber bands? Most of the time, I use what's called a number 32 rubber band. I always have in my tackle bag for different types of rigging and things. The 3 most popular sizes are they're 16s, 32s, and 64s. The 64s are actually too big for most of this. You would want either a 32 or a 16. We sell them at the store. You can buy them at Office Max. They come in a big bag. They're like, I don't know, $5 or $6 gets you a quart bag of rubber bands. You come buy a bag of rubber bands, you won't need rubber bands again for 10 years. I mean, I don't know how many's in a bag. But it's a quart bag full. Wow. That went really fast, that part. So, trolling. I'm not a huge troller. I mean, I get bored doing it. You would think I would get bored sitting there chumming for tunas, but when I'm sitting there chumming, I'm throwing some chum, and the zing that goes off when you get one chumming is just, that's cool. Tell you a story about last year. It's somebody that comes to the seminars, to some of them, but we were late getting out that day. We just got lucky, but we get out there. We probably get there at like 9 o'clock. We get out to the knuckle, and somebody that comes in here and comes to my store. Well, we parked probably from here to that pursuit boat from them. We just kind of found a place in the middle there, and there's a space. We pull up, and we get there, and I hook the first live bait up and throw it out on the flat line. It hits the water and it's going. I check the drag, sit it down, walk over here, get the deeper rig, and I'm working on it. That one's got a fish on it. And I don't remember who it was, but he's yelling at us, I've been here for 3 hours and y'all pull up, throw a bait out. I'm doing the same thing. What the heck? It just happens that way, but it's neat to do. But sometimes we're not sure if the tunas are on the south edge or the knuckle or the southwest edge, and that's 10 or 12 miles of water. Well, trolling can be a good way to locate them and then stop and set up with your chum and your live baits. And there's the trolling thing, super, super easy. The little bird packs that we sell, this is a tuna getter. It has a little bird and it has a little duster already on it. We sell these pre-rigged up. I would put this as one of my, depending on what other lures I was going to troll with, I would put this way back there. The only thing that I might put further back is the little bitty gotcha trolls. We typically use these for Spanish in the spring, but a lot of times in the fall, I don't know if any of y'all bought bait from the bait boat this week, but you know, during the summertime, we're getting these nice big cigar minnows. The cigar minnows they had this weekend, and this will be kind of the norm for fall. They're real little right now. So where in the summertime, if we were trolling for yellowfins, I would use a true cedar plug. But in the fall, this little gotcha troll that we use for Spanish, this is a better option in the fall because it kind of goes back to that term of match the hatch from fly fishing. Cigar minnows are very small. The only thing I would say I would do, This has a little tiny hook in it. Take this hook off and put a much larger and stronger hook. This hook will bend out. You know, the Yozuri crystal minnows, there again, if I was going to do the Yozuris, this bone white, this is almost the color that this lure will be if you sand it all down. So this is a good one. The plain white, the clown color, clown is white with like little yellow and pink dots on it. The Yozur or the Rapala X-Wrap, this comes in a white also. Those are the color patterns that you really want for trolling for tunas, at least wise in the fall. That pipe's only supposed to be for breathing. Oh, it's almost like brain freeze. So I kind of missed something back. I should have covered this. When you're sitting there chumming for the tunas and you got your 3 rigs out there, that's another thing you can do when you're doing that, is you can, just like slow pitch jigging for your snappers, your groupers and all that, jigging for tunas works really good. This is something you can go up on, you can send somebody, you can have all your rigs off the back, send somebody up on the bow with one of your jigs, and the JY jigs, the Shimano jigs, and the Nomad jigs all work really good for that. That's just something to do while you're actually chumming and live baiting for the tunas. That works really, really good. That's the little, I didn't think I had a picture of it. That's the little gotcha troll. You can see it has a little tiny hook in it. You're going to need a bigger hook in that one. And that's the jigs. So I always have a couple little secrets. There's, you know, after the seminar, come up and ask me. I'll show you one more way to catch the tunas. But I like to have something that's just for everybody that shows up here, that doesn't go out across the world. Give y'all something a little special. But if anybody wants that, you can come up afterwards. We can talk about that. So do you think you can go out and catch a blackfin right now? You might.
You can find them, you can catch them.
So this is completely off topic, but we got in a new product today, and normally I'm not, you know, I show you stuff that works for fishing, and I figure if we teach y'all how to catch something and you can go out and apply that and it works, I'm really not selling the tackle and the gear. We're teaching, you take the teachings and you learn something. I'm going to sell you something right now. And this is for your kids, your grandkids, your wives, anybody like me that has a bad back and needs a little something extra. We've been fishing with these with a couple of my clients for 2 or 3 years now, and we've had difficulty coming up with the actual manufacturer. Well, luckily this year when I was at the ICAST show back in July, I actually found the manufacturer to the little battery kits for all your electric reels. And I'm sure most of y'all, if you've ever fished with electric reels, they can be somewhat cumbersome. You normally have a cable that's coming off that's either plugged into the boat somewhere, or you have a actual car battery with a couple battery clamps. That is difficult. And it doesn't work as good with the smaller gear. So we carry electric reels anywhere from what's called a 500 size to an 1800 Seaborg, 1600, something like that. Big old Seaborg reel. We carry 4 or 5 different sizes. They make some nice, small, compact 500s. Daiwa makes them and Bannex makes them. We have 2 of the Bannex on one of the boats I fish on a lot, and I've got a 9, a 10, and a 13-year-old. Well, you know, when I have to go out there and grouper fish or fish for anything and under over 150 feet of water, my kids struggle. I mean, it's too much on them. Well, I can give them a little 500 size reel, not even on a bent butt rod, just on a regular bottom fishing rod, a little 500. These, and on the Shimano's reels, it will screw right into your cable port. You don't even need a cable. On your Daiwas and your Bannex reels, you take this little battery and it goes right here and it velcros to the rod, and then there's little short cables. So it's all self-contained. You're not tethered to a battery. You're not tethered to the side of the boat. You get a bite. If your fish goes over here, we can go all the way around the bow, come back down the other side. Just the perfect way to bottom fish. And these batteries, especially this larger size, these are more than capable of running one of your bigger reels and swordfish fishing in 1,600 feet all day. This larger size. Yes.
Rechargeable?
Yes. Rechargeable, and comes, I don't think we have one here. You can get a charger, you can get it has a wall charger for home, which is the fastest way to charge it. They can also be charged via USB and a cigarette lighter adaptation. So if you have a boat, if you have a converter on the boat, you can use 110, charge it really fast. But you can charge them while you're out there on the boat. The larger batteries come in a 2-pack. They're $185. The smaller batteries come in a 2-pack, and they are $115. And the cables, depending on which one you need, they're 20, 30 bucks. But like I say, we've been buying them. The ones I got, mine are blue, they're different color, but it's the same manufacturer. We were buying them off of Amazon. This is gonna be great. I'm like I say, kids, wives, people like me, bad back, something to make your life easier, that's the ticket. And we just got those, today's the first day we've had them. Questions? So, I think I talked about this at last month's seminar, but I want to do a refresher for everybody. We have a new division in the rodeo this year. We have a release division for red snapper, gag grouper, and red grouper. The Return 'em Right people, Nick Hadlad with Return 'em Right is sponsoring this division. It's going to be a weekly thing. You have to have a Return 'em Right kit. You can go to the Return 'em Right website. There's about a 10, 12-minute video. You watch the little video. After you watch the video, it'll have a little link there for you to get a free kit. These kits are normally $100, but you're going to get the kit for free for just watching the little video. It takes, if you don't have one, you need to do this now, because rodeo is 28 days away. It'll take a couple weeks for your kit to arrive. But go home tomorrow night, watch the little video, fill out the little thing after you get done. They're going to send you 2 different release devices. This one being the best one. It's adjustable. So you hook it on the fish, you're going to run it down. It has a 50, 100, 150 foot settings on it. And when it gets to that depth, it'll automatically release and let the fish go. Well, what this is doing is promoting conservation. You know, a lot of times when we bring our fish up, we're trying to venom. People don't know how to venom correctly. They poke holes in the wrong place. They end up killing the fish. It doesn't live anyway. Doing it the right way. So they're started this year with the rodeo. So each week, you're going to take a full video of you've caught the fish, we're hooking him up on the little gear, we're putting him in the water, somebody's sitting there videoing the whole time. You're going to email that video to destinfishingrodeo.org, and you can have one entry per week, and then all those entries are going to go into a little bucket just like this, and we're going to pull out weekly winners. There'll be a red grouper, am I right, Mark? There's going to be a prize for is it? Is just one prize per week, not 3 prizes? So we'll find that out at the rodeo captain's meeting, because I'm not sure. I was thinking that we were going to have a red grouper, a gag grouper, and a red snapper each week, but it may only be one prize. But everybody's name's going to go in a bucket and pull one name out per week.
Are they going to video the measurement or anything like that?
You're releasing it so it doesn't have to be legal size. All you got to do, if you caught the fish and you're going to release it, you hook it on the release gear, you're videoing it until it gets in the water and goes out of sight. Once it's out of sight, you can turn the video off.
Doesn't have to be a legal size to be a 12-inch snapper?
Sure. But don't be this guy. Don't go out there and this is for release of things that are maybe in a closed season. The likelihood is that there's a lot of days in the rodeo when snapper are not open, but you're going to be fishing for other species. You're going to catch a snapper or catch a triggerfish or catch a red grouper or catch a gag grouper. This is to train everybody to use the rigs so that we all do better with conservation throughout the year. So they're going to give you a $100 kit, and you're going to have a chance to win prizes. So it's really just a training thing. But it's really good that they're doing that. Yes, Mark?
If I'm correct, it's not the rodeo that's going to be reviewing the videos, it's going to be the people from the Turn Right.
I think it's going to be both. Mark's on the rodeo board with me, who was saying who's going to review the videos. They go to the rodeo. I think one of the girls is going to look at them all, and then they're just going to send the one to Rigging It Right. Go, okay, this looks like the winner for this week. This is the name we drew. Approve the video, I think. And you know, it's rough out there some days. They want a continuous video, not where I hooked it on and then stopped and then put it over here by the water and then dropped it in the water. When you got him in the boat, you hooked him on, put him over, all that, just one video. That's what they're really looking for. But I thought it was a nice new thing for the rodeo, something different for us to do at the rodeo.
Does the device attach on the rod that you're fishing with, or you have a separate rod set up?
You can have a separate rod. You can do it on a hand line. You can do it on a downrigger. A separate rod is the easiest thing to do. But hand line, downrigger, separate rod, anything like that will work. A little bit more about the rodeo for this year. I don't know if everybody's paid attention or not. The Seafood Festival is a week early. Our captain's meeting for the rodeo will be on the 26th at 5 o'clock at AJ's. The 27th, 28th, and 29th are the Seafood Festival this year. Typically, the Seafood Festival is the first full weekend in October. It's 1 week early this year. So if you have friends coming in from out of town for the festival, make sure they know there's going to be a lot of people going to miss it this year because it is a week early. Anything else we got going on at the rodeo, Mark, we need to tell them about? We have Meet Miss Destin coming up this month, but I don't remember when that is. Do you remember? You can go on the rodeo's website, destinfishingrodeo.org, and there's a list of all the events. They have a really nice party. I think it's about the 20th or so of this month. It'll be at the Inn on the Harbor. It's come out and meet our new Miss Destin. They have free food, free drinks. It's just a good time. Good little community event. Anything you think I've forgot or missed, Chase?
I think you covered it. Tim, I think it's the 12th.
12th?
Go by the store, pick up the rodeo books there. Should be on display at half.
They are on display at half.
Yeah, another thing.
Yeah.
I think
You can
they're
hand
looking
those out.
for-
You can help me do these things.
I think they're looking for volunteer judges
Yeah,
still.
we definitely need volunteer judges for the rodeo barge. If anybody's interested in that, you can send an email, contact Helen at Dustin, the DustinFishingRodeo.org webpage. We definitely need extra judges on the rodeo barge if anybody's interested in doing that. The only thing is, if you're fishing, you can fish in the rodeo and be a judge. You just can't fish on the same day you're judge. Judging times are from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. or 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. But you can't fish the same day you judge, but you can fish day before, day after. But anybody that wants to get involved in that, we would love to have you. Chase is passing out some discount cards right now. We got some free goodies to give away. If anybody has any questions, or if you want to tell a fish story, now's your opportunity. Yes?
Do you have any insight into what Fish and Wildlife plans are for the next year? Anything about dealing with sharks, seasons, things like that, slot limits?
I think next year will be very similar to this year as far as the regulations go. This is just my personal opinion based on what's happened in the past. You know, amberjack and triggerfish are scheduled to be open through the end of the year. I would expect that both of them will close mid-October, just like they did last year. I think once we reach the quota, they'll give us about 4 or 5 day notice and close both of those. I would expect that both of those will close sometime mid-October. We know what snapper are going to be. They won't close that early. We'll get all those snapper days. It's a touchy subject with a lot of people. You know, I think it's too many days because I think if we go over the limit, if we go over the quota this year, it will mean less days next year. So I think we have a few too many days. But that's just me. I could make a pretty good argument both ways. Yes?
I heard recently there's going to be a ballot measure regarding fishing in the general election this year. What is your take on that?
Haven't heard that.
I think it has to do with a constitutional amendment for protecting the rights of hunters and fishing.
So we pretty much have that now. We don't need any more government oversight. We have more than enough of that. So if that's on there, my vote's no. Because I don't think they need any more power than they already got. Anything else? Well, cool. Draw us a name out, Mary. We got a new sponsor. We're going to have 4 shirts that we're going to give away here. These are Freedom Life Apparel. They're a new apparel company that's out. They're an American company. Whoever wins these, I want you to, when you wear them, use this for a month or 2. Let me know how it did. Some of these performance shirts are really good. This particular one that we sell at the store, this is our store brand one. These are fantastic. They're breathable. And she can attest to how much blood I've come home. And this shirt is just trashed. Little spray and wash, and the washer comes out perfect. Some of them are, even though they say they're performance wear, they're hot, they stain, they're horrible. So the 4 winners of these, when you wear this for a month or 2, come by the shop, let me or Chase or one of the guys know, hey, that stuff was really good. No, it was really bad. Give us a little feedback.
Okay, Mark Danaway.
Freedom Life Apparel. Mark, oh, here he comes. Here you go.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Looks great.
Ron Tidwell.
Oh, that's easy. I don't even have to go very far.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
Appreciate it.
2 more of these.
Robert Vickroy.
Black or red?
Black. Thank you, sir.
Oh, what, little huggy.
Mona Vicky.
Are y'all together? Yeah. That worked out good. You got to stir the bucket, Mary.
Probably won't wear red.
Do you want a legendary shirt instead?
No, this is okay.
Okay.
Bill Groves.
There you go. Thanks, sir.
You got another one?
Got 2 more.
Deanna Obasak.
I'll take the black. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And Lauren Tzansky. Tschantz. Okay. Sorry.
We figured her out.
It's Chance. I know it's a tough one. Thank you.
There you go.
Easier.
So anyway, we appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Next month, we'll be doing all things rodeo. It's going to be kind of an open forum. I'll have some stuff prepared to talk about, just about different things in the rodeo. Make sure you come with your questions, whether it's I had trouble catching amberjack or whatever. We'll kind of do it open forum, make the floor open, ask kind of questions. Like I say, I'll have something ready to go. But any kind of questions you have, we want everybody to have a good time in the rodeo. Remember, while we have some great prizes in the rodeo, we have about 180 slots on the big board. We have specialty categories for charter 25 and under, party boat, private 25 and under, and a ton of just open stuff. But for me, I love winning a division, win the Blackfin, win the Wahoo. That's all great. I get the best thing that comes out of the rodeo for me are the kids divisions. There's 3 different boats that I run that all have little ones. And one of the boats has a 9, a 10, a 13-year-old. I have another boat that has a 10 and a 12-year-old. Bring your kids, your grandkids. If they show up with a fish, they're going to be a winner that day. They're going to get their picture made with Miss Destin. They're going to get a certificate of that catch, and they're going to get a free rod and a reel. Just all their fish has to do is weigh a pound. Now I'm telling you, if they get to the dock and all they have is a cigar minnow, it's okay, because it's going to weigh a pound. Someone's going to take that cigar minnow. If I'm on the dock or whoever's down there, one of our judges is going to put that cigar minnow in a Ziploc, and they're going to fill it with water, and they're going to weigh the bag and the fish and all. If you bring us a kid, doesn't matter, one of these people, and they have a fish, they're going to win. I mean, their fish is big enough. Make sure you stop. It doesn't matter what the only thing they will not weigh at the dock, they will not weigh a red snapper down there. Because I'm on the rodeo board, and I got in trouble for that last year because I did it. But any other species, they'll weigh. Bring it down there, bring your kids, bring your grandkids. It's a memory for them that they will have forever. So make sure you bring them. So the question was, why won't they wear a red snapper? So at different times, and depending on which year it is, there's times that it's going to be open for private. There's going to be times it's open for charter. There's going to be times when it's only open for federally chartered boats, times when it's only open for state charter boats like it is this year. If it's not open for everyone, we don't recognize it. And there's been times when the charter boats could catch them and private boats couldn't. We didn't weigh them then. And right now it's going to be open for private boats and state charter boats, but not federal boats. So we're not going to weigh them now either. Just got to be fair for everybody. And that's the reason they're not in the rodeo. Well, guys, thank everybody, guys and ladies and gentlemen, thanks for coming out. We'll see y'all next month, first Tuesday of the month.
I was wondering if you was.
These from the last seminars too. Those summary sheets, are they on the website?
They're on our website.
Okay, perfect.
Go on the more button, hit more.